Richard, can I ask you a question?
No.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Well, somebody once told me
Yeah.
that it was fine to be here.
That was... I feel like just singing the song would have been cooler than resorting to the joke, but I respect you as a comedian and an artist, so I'm going to allow it. Welcome, everybody, to the Cop Popture Podcast, the return of the valiant, the noble steed that is film franchise Fortnights, a podcast where myself, AJ, and Richard watch a different film franchise.
Not different from each other.
No, yeah, the same one.
Because that wouldn't work.
Usually the same one. Once a fortnight. Does that grammatically make sense? Going back,
no.
we watch a movie series.
Say it in reverse order, and
we watch a movie series every 2 weeks, no matter what it is. We randomly select it, and this week we didn't randomly select it. We did the Shrek series.
The Shrek.
The Shrek. The first
one's
film,
called
the Shrek. The second one's one of those sequels that takes the out of the title.
Yeah, like Facebook. Facebook 2 was just called Facebook.
Yeah.
The Facebook 2 was...
I was thinking more Transporter 2, but that's probably a better example. So Shrek.
Were you saying that yours was a better example?
I was saying your one was a better example.
Right.
Well, they were both playing different games, I think. Do you know what I mean?
No. What?
This is real quiet, eh? On the reader. That's okay. That's fine. We can boost it.
Do you want to turn the gain up?
No, I'm not touching the gain. Apologies for the last podcast you would have listened to. Depending on when this one comes out, we're still kind of playing with scheduling. But specifically the anticipated 2017. Sorry if that blasted your eardrums in a bit. I'm playing with gain and discovering don't play with gain.
AJ discovers gain.
That's our next franchise.
Yeah, but AJ discovers gain. And AJ discovers gain too.
But it's TOO. Even that doesn't make sense because it's still the same person in the time. Cool. So the Shrek series consists of 5 films technically, and the first was of course kind of based on a storybook by a guy named William Steig, which I read years and years ago when I think Shrek 2 hadn't even come out. I went to the library because I was like, I'd heard that there was a novelization of the movie and I wanted to find that, so I asked them.
Yeah, you just want to consume like every piece of Shrek.
Yeah, I was a Shrek fiend, dude. They were like, yeah, we've got Shrek, and they gave me this shitty picture book, and I was like, this isn't the novelization of the movie, but it's called Shrek with an exclamation mark by William Steig. That was adapted. I don't know when that came out. I should have written that down.
I like that the gain is so quiet that you yelling Shrek barely registered.
The first Shrek film, called Shrek, came out in 2001 and was directed by Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen.
Mm-hmm. Andrew Adamson being from New Zealand.
Oh, Narnia. He also directed Narnia.
Which is from New Zealand.
Yeah, they're both New Zealand. He's a New Zealander, yep. This was followed in 2004 by Shrek 2, also directed by Aaron Adamson. That was a fat guy from my primary school.
Aaron Adamson.
Andrew Adamson, Conrad
Aaron, if you're listening.
and Cowley Asbury. That guy was a dick, man. But he's probably a dick because he was bullied. Like, that's the feeling. Yeah. Shout out to Aaron Adamson. Shrek the Third came out in 2007, directed by Chris Miller, not that Chris Miller, and Raymond Hui. My handwriting is terrible here. Sorry, Raymond, if that's your name. Shrek Forever After came out in 2010, directed by Mike Mitchell, and then Puss in Boots, a spin-off, came out in 2011, directed by Chris Miller. Again, not that Chris Miller.
You refer, of course, to Chris Miller of Chris Miller and Phil Lord fame.
Yeah, which I guess aren't even... I suppose they're famous as well. I don't know if I'd call them household names, but...
No, I wouldn't.
The tier under household
They're
names.
doing a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Most, I'd say, other than Spielberg and Scorsese, Tarantino, not many directors are household names.
That's true. So, in terms of actors, the Shrek franchise actually doesn't star anyone famous. Just kidding. It's got a buttload. Here they are. Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Antonio Banderas, John Lithgow. Lithgow? What do you go with? What do you Lithgow with?
I go with Lithgow.
Okay. John Cleese, Julie Andrews, Jennifer Saunders, Rupert Everett, Justin Timberlake, Eric Idle, John Hamm, Craig Robinson, Jane Lynch, Salma Hayek, Zach Galifianakis. Knackers. Billy Bob Thornton, Amy Sedaris, and cameos including Larry King, Amy Poehler, Ian McShane, Regis Philbin, Maya Rudolph, John Krasinski, and Frank Welker. The series as a whole grossed
$3.510 billion.
$794,482, making it the 13th highest grossing franchise of all time and the highest animated franchise of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it basically served as a DreamWorks mascot and a cultural touchstone of the noughties, with extended media including short films, a TV series, kind of a Netflix series, comic books, video games, theme park rides, a Broadway musical, and a distasteful internet meme.
Yeah. So there is Shrek the Halls and
there's a few spin-offs that we're
scared Shrekless.
We
they're
don't
all on
really
Netflix,
watch
so, and they're on like 20 minutes, so it would have been easy to watch them, but we just don't care enough.
No, this is films. They're short films. They don't count.
Yeah.
Do you want to do?
But they don't. We watch the TV films for SpongeBob.
Yeah. But
interestingly, though, SpongeBob SquarePants, another franchise that adds Antonio Banderas in its second film.
That's true. That's very true.
I was real proud of that. I've been waiting to say that. And then your response was so lackluster.
Wow, you're right, bro. Jiminy Cricket. What's a line in Shrek that they would say to that? Be like...
that is a nice fact.
I like that fact. That is a nice fact. Before we go into how you would rank the films, what they're rated, and what they mean to us as individuals, we've actually got some guests here, special guests, to tell us what each of the 5 films are about. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, whether you're driving to work, whether you're listening to this at work.
Oh, hands on the wheel.
Start clapping. No, clap with your feet. For the entire cast of various cast members from Shrek, have come to tell us the story of each one. So, Shrek, will you tell us the story of the first Shrek film? Shrek.
Sure. A bunch of fairy tale creatures invade my swamp. In order to get it back,
You're right.
What?
You know the story, Shrek.
Yeah,
you lived through it. Just tell me what happened.
It says a cart's a deal.
What?
A cart's a deal.
Cart's a deal.
Yeah, like a shopping cart. With Lord Farquaad to save Princess Fiona, but we fall in love.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shrek.
Shrek 2, Donkey. What is Shrek 2 about?
Shrek meets Fiona's parents.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so much better than I thought it was going to be. Okay, continue, Donkey.
No, that's it. Thanks, Don. He's gone. He
meets Fiona's parents and Far, Far Away.
I was talking to Donkey before. I was just helping these guys write down their list. And, even though Shrek 2, we'll go into this, but I fucking love Shrek 2.
Yeah.
To actually write down a plot, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, sure.
You can boil it down in one line. That's how you'd pitch it.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, more happens, but I couldn't even remember it.
Shrek the Third. Princess Fiona. Can you tell us what happens in Shrek the Third? She's not even got, a distinguishable voice.
My dad, King Harold, falls ill, leaving Shrek in charge for the throne. In order to not be king, he has to find Harold's only heir, Arthur.
Great.
I think she had a cold. She mentioned before.
And to tell us the plot of Shrek Forever After, what do you want to do? Have we got Lord Farquaad here? He's not really in the movie.
He's not. He doesn't really know what happens in it.
Okay.
I called him up earlier before, and he was like,
an
ogre!
Look, it's the 3 little pigs come to tell us what happens in Shrek Forever After.
In the midst of a midlife crisis and wanting to be a real ogre again, Shrek accidentally wishes he'd never been born.
Born? He'd never been born.
And he kinda... and he has to get Fiona to fall in love with him again.
Wow, thank you, 3 little pigs. In Puss in Boots, tell us what happens in Puss in Boots.
Puss and Humpty go on an epic quest to find magic beans to save their village.
It's weird that Puss in Boots is the worst one that you can do. I feel like that'd be the easiest one.
Puss in Boots.
Thank you, cast of Shrek, various cast members. Imagine if I'd made you do...
I feel like I could do better at Puss. Let's just see if it comes up.
Okay. I feel like I could have been a bit meaner there and made you do Gingerbread Man and Pinocchio and have to distinguish your impersonation between the two of them. Anyway, in terms of
Gingerbread Man,
in terms of general consensus, which ones are good, which ones are bad? First of all, Richard, I was about to call you Shrek. That's hilarious. A Shrekian slip, if you will. Which
when
would you say
one thing but mean an ogre?
Can you rank your from Shrek to Puss in Boots? How would you rank them?
This is from first to last.
Okay.
Favorite to least favorite. I'd go. 1 and 2 probably equal.
Okay.
So I'd be like, say 1, 2. I go almost even go 2, 1, 4, 3. Well, 4 plus 3.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly, and the ratings almost agree with us. So. Interestingly, both Shrek and Shrek 2 have 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's, of course, the... Do we want to do audience scores? I feel like they don't matter as much.
Well, I feel like it only matters if there's a massive discrepancy.
There is.
Because you get films that, critics hated but audiences loved.
Yeah, okay. So Shrek had a critic score of 88, so did Shrek 2. Shrek has an audience score of 90. Shrek 2 has an audience score of 69.
See, that surprises me.
Which is wrong. The audience is wrong.
The audience are wrong.
That's interesting that the audience is wrong in this case. Shrek the Third has 41% critic score and a 52% audience score. Shrek Forever After has a 58% critic score and a 54% audience score, which is interesting that all across the board, everyone thought Shrek Forever After was better than Shrek the Third. Because that's another sort of anomaly you don't see when we do franchises that are this long, is like, sure, they get worse as they go along, but rarely is like 4 better than 3.
Yeah.
You know?
But then you get a real anomaly, like Friday the 13th, where 6 is head and shoulders the best one. No more tears.
Puss in Boots got 84%, making it the third highest rated. And 67%.
I'd say a lot of that probably comes from the surprise of it. I'd say, because it's not bad.
Yeah,
but no one would have expected it to be good, really.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about
titles.
Not yet. Sorry. I want to talk just what Shrek means to me.
Okay.
Because Shrek's important to me. So I briefly mentioned the internet meme before. You may have seen it a few years ago. There was this big meme going around that was like Shrek is love, Shrek is life, and Shrek was like portrayed as like a rapist in these like copy pastas. It was awful because Shrek's important. Shrek is so much better than like a shitty meme. They're called brogers, by the way. I found out. People who like want to have sex with Shrek are called brogers.
I thought you mean like in the film.
No,
they're not ogres. They're just called brogers. You can't just throw that in here.
First of all, what do you mean? Second of all, why are you talking about it now? Brogers are like bronies, but for Shrek, they want to have sex with Shrek.
Not a lot of females then.
I'd assume not.
Okay.
Shrek's important to me. I saw Shrek with my mum in 2001.
Yeah, I saw it with my grandma.
Oh, that's awesome. Is she still with us?
No, she's not.
Oh, then it's even more special. I was 7 or 8, and I remember being like, hey mum, there's this movie called Shrek, I really want to see it. And like going into that, I remember like going to Pack and Save beforehand to get lollies, and like just thinking that I was about to walk into such a iconic movie is such a special memory for me. And like we left the theatre and we were both like, that was really good. I made it a point to go to every Shrek movie with my mum, at least. Like, there are other people, but I tried to make sure I went with my mum. And yeah, I love Shrek, man. I want to have sex with Shrek. Shrek was the first movie I ever pirated. Well, had a pirated copy of.
Yeah.
And I would have watched that movie as an 7 or 8 year old with a pirated copy of Shrek. I would have watched that movie 200 times. And I remember when the DVD or the videotape came out and they were like Shrek's karaoke dance parties at the end of it, we went to the video shop for like our weekend movie and I got out Shrek, even though I'd seen it by that point 200 times because I wanted to watch the karaoke dance party at the end.
So it's weird for me, like Shrek, because obviously I saw in 2001 when it came out, but having that clear of a memory of seeing a film at that time. This is 16 years ago, and I still really clearly remember what parts they laughed at, what parts only like the older people laughed at, and me not getting it now, getting it now.
Yeah.
But another funny story about talking about having a pirated copy is for Christmas that year, all I wanted was Shrek on VHS.
Yeah.
And so like every weekend leading up to Christmas, we'd like me and my sister would be like, we want to watch Shrek, can we go to the video store and get it out? Can we? And then my parents were like, they didn't want to like spend money getting it out because they already bought it for us, and it was just hidden away. So what they did was, in like Video Easy or Blockbuster, whatever you had, it would have like the film in its coloured case.
Yeah.
And then behind it would be black and white covers of the case, and you get the black and white ones. So what they did was my parents photocopied the cover that they'd bought us, printed it in black and white, and like slipped it in, and then went, we're gonna go get out Shrek now, and then just brought it home, and then gave us the same copy.
That's awesome, man. Do you have a favourite line from Shrek? I'm kind of digging myself a hole here because I don't have one prepared.
Well, I hadn't thought about. I obviously think about Shrek every day, but then I hadn't actually thought deeply about the movie for years until I was working when I went to the warehouse. There was this guy there, and just one night we just started quoting Shrek, and there's like obviously the quotes you always quote, but then he said to me that his favourite line was when Shrek's like, "No donkey, what am I?" And he's like, retard. That's stuck with me ever since, because it's like if you'd asked me to quote the entire movie, I would never have said that line up until that point, but now it gets me every time.
Totally, man. I don't know if I have a favourite line. I quite like "What are you doing in my swamp?" just because of how funny it is to yell at people.
Also the boulder line is good.
Oh yeah, that is a nice boulder. And the parfait line.
Yeah,
everybody
loves the parfait line.
You ever go to say to someone, you want a parfait? They're like, no, I don't like no parfaits. Parfaits are delicious. Like, I can never like remember that in its full.
Yeah, I love that Donkey is the most anachronistic character.
Yeah,
like he seems to exist outside of time.
Yeah. As he's like the genie from Aladdin, because he can sing songs that haven't been invented yet.
Yeah.
Shrek 2. Let's talk about Shrek 2, Richard.
Okay.
Which I've wanted to do almost every day for years now. Shrek 2 is a great sequel.
It is.
I would say Shrek 2 is my favourite. And I remember I saw it again for my 11th birthday with my mum and some friends. And my dad and brother as well. But anyway.
My friends.
And I remember being like, Shrek 2 is better than the first one. And I said that years later I would go on to say the same thing about Shrek the Third, which I've since rescinded. Yes. But I like that at some point there was like an intelligent shift where I was like, no, Shrek the Third's worse than Shrek 1. But Shrek 2 is still the best. I still like Shrek 2 the most. Shrek 2 is the first movie I remember hearing was 90 minutes long and getting like it's a weird sort of milestone in my life, but like understanding that animated movies are 90 minutes, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I remember. I actually remember that having that revelation as well.
Yeah,
but I can't remember what movie it was about.
Yeah, but Shrek 2 is just like we were saying this the other night when we watched it. Like, what other animated sequel? What other sequel really like triples the talent? Because Shrek 1, you've got 4 main stars. Yeah. You've got Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and John Lithgow. In Shrek 2, you've got Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Antonio Banderas, Julie Andrews, John Cleese, Jennifer Saunders, Rupert Everett. Like, I think that's it. That's the main set, right?
Yeah, or Larry King.
Yeah, other than cameos and things like that. And like all of those are great talent. Jennifer Saunders playing a bad guy.
Brilliant.
Oh, she's so good. And like I love how much of a bitch she is. And like we're saying this as well, like both the first and second Shrek movies, their bad guys get killed right at the moment of like their peak hubris. Yeah. You know, like in Shrek 1, Lord Farquaad is like, I will have order, I will have da-da-da, and he's like, I am king, and then the dragon busts through and eats him. But you don't hate Lord Farquaad anywhere near as much as you hate Fairy Godmother. And when her last line before she casts the spell and it gets rebounded off whatever. What's it get rebounded? It gets rebounded off.
Harold's chest plate.
Harold, and it hits her. She goes, I told you ogres weren't supposed to have happy endings, which is such an intolerant, like racist, like backwards thing that someone like that would totally think. And there's just something so horrible and so evil about someone believing that to their core and believing that is the way to go forward in the world, to then get killed instantly. It's so brutal, and I love it. It's such a good ending to the character.
She's incredible in that film. And I've said this before, I was going to do one of your like dumb cop popcorn videos about it. The music at the end of Shrek 2, when she performs Holding Out for Your Hero, not only is it like the best version of a great song, but that's one of like the best uses of music in film, in my opinion. It like, A, it's a great performance. Like B, I love the fact that it's like diegetic. That they everyone can hear it. It's actually happening in the scene, and it like means something different to every character hearing it.
Totally.
So Shrek, if he can actually hear it because he's quite far away, but he's like
far away.
Yeah, he is. He's thinking, I need to step up and be the hero that Fiona needs me to be.
Yeah.
Like the fairy godmother's been like, Fiona, come on, like fucking just have sex with Prince Charming. Prince Charming's being like, this is me.
Yeah.
I'm what she's holding out for. I'm the hero. And then Fiona's just having this like identity crisis of
I need a hero.
I need a hero. Wrong. Is this him? Because she did. She knows.
For those who aren't keeping up, very briefly, the climax of Shrek 2 is Shrek takes a potion which turns both him and Fiona back into humans. Prince Charming makes Fiona think that he's the human version of Shrek, which is awesome that they don't meet at any point before that, because that would have been like a rule in the writing process. Would have been like, make sure they don't meet. They cannot meet because she needs to think this. I wonder if that was like a later draft, and then they had to like retcon and like make sure they never met.
I feel like it's just kind of obvious.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, so she's like, oh, is this actually Shrek?
Yeah, because things are starting to go wrong, and so the fairy godmother's like, all right, C minor, put it in C minor. Wherever. So they're saying about Shrek 2 being a good sequel. The other thing I like about Shrek 2 is that it's the idea for it, the pitch that you could do, that Donkey gave us earlier, saying about how it's just Shrek meets Fiona's parents. Yeah. That's the kind of idea for a sequel that someone walking out of the cinema would be like, what's going to happen when he meets her parents?
I agree. Yeah, like it
answers a question that you actually asked.
Yeah, it's genuinely just almost without even trying, continuing the story.
Yeah.
Like it's like, this is what would happen.
That's the next logical step.
Yeah, there's a disconnect here that we're not aware of, because Shrek 1 is very contained within its characters, whereas Shrek 2 like opens up the world a lot more. And like but throughout the not including Puss in Boots, throughout the 4 Shrek films, you actually get a pretty good idea of like the landscape and like the world of Far, Far Away, where it is, like with the swamp, where Duloc is. Like it's real interesting because you don't really get that in a lot of animated films. And like I guess universe building. One brief thing I want to touch on Shrek 2. We'll talk more about it later, but just for now, I want to give a shout out to my boy Prince Charming, whose sole purpose is to be like a superfluous character, but that's his entire motivation. Is like, why am I here? What? He's not articulate or smart enough to think these things, but like his struggle and his journey and it goes into Shrek the Third as well, because he's the main villain in Shrek the Third, is like, I want something to do. I'm useless. Where's my happy ending? Which is a valid question to ask, but he needs to look at the man in the mirror.
What do you think they had Shrek the Third planned?
They had 5 Shrek films.
But like, do you think that? I didn't know that. But do you reckon that they were like, let's introduce him in this film. Let's have this be his arc so that he can be the villain in the third one.
Yes, probably, but I don't think that worked. I think he works as like a henchman villain, because he's not the main villain. Fairy Godmother's the main villain, and then promoting him to main villain, it's almost just like, I would rather see like someone else. I'd rather see someone new as the villain. I like the idea of a villain per episode, but then I guess I could argue as well it's cool that they're using what they have instead of just bringing in other elements for no reason. All right, so let's talk about the problems with Shrek the Third all the way to Puss in Boots.
Okay.
Because while all these movies have good ideas, I really like a lot of the ideas in them. I think overall they are subpar, including Puss in Boots. I'd say Puss in Boots is boring. I'd say
so not Shrek. It's a DreamWorks adventure film. It's not it's not a comedy for the adults.
So I wrote down here, and this is sort of relating to how I was saying they tripled the voice cast. They stopped putting importance on voice acting and instead went for star power from third onwards. Because someone like Justin Timberlake or Zach Galifianakis, and I'm cautious to say this, but even a little bit John Hamm, who's Shrek Forever After, like these aren't characters that are they're great actors, but like voice, they can't, like when you're compared to Mike Myers, who's doing an accent. You know, like, and Donkey, Eddie Murphy, who's such a... Like, the only one I'm kind of iffy on is Cameron Diaz, who was sort of just relegated to the girl character.
Yeah.
But, like...
I
No, I know what you're getting at. Okay, very briefly. I'm not sexist. All these movies do a very good job of establishing that women kick ass as well.
Yeah.
I would say that. But
right from the get-go.
I'm talking in terms of her voice. It's just a generic... female voice. There's nothing interesting really.
Drew Barrymore could have done.
Yeah, exactly. So up until Shrek the Third, all the other voice cast either have like distinct voices or they're putting a voice on.
Yeah, or they suit their role.
Yeah.
And, like you got Jennifer Saunders, you got like the King and Queen, John Cleese and Julie Andrews are brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
Like because you could argue that star power, but they suit it so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well that's what I'm saying is that because then in Shrek Forever After, some dude named Walt Dawn plays the lead villain, Rumpelstiltskin.
But why? You know where that came from?
Yes. So he was doing storyboards for Shrek because he's an animator,
he's a storyboard artist.
or a writer. He's actually a whole bunch of things according to Wikipedia. Lists him as writer first, but I feel like he'd rather be known as animator for some reason. I don't know. He was doing a real good job of impersonating the character when he pitched scenes to the directors that they were like, let's just put him in it. But the problem is that Shrek Forever After is just a very quiet kind of like it doesn't have much gravitas because there's no like big bold voice playing the main villain. And
I definitely think he did a good job of that role.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so.
But then you can sort of tell that he's not a voice actor because he loses it in scenes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think I'm getting at is like they needed to find the balance between star power and voice talent.
Yeah, who would you have cast?
I don't know. Like maybe some like we talked before about Christopher Walken. Like he would have been alright as Rumpelstiltskin. Like I'm just thinking of like distinct voices, but yeah, like
I'd say like Adam Sandler would be better. Just if we're going primarily from the cast of Click, I would have chosen Adam Sandler because it needs to be sort of more manic and annoying.
Yeah,
it's his whole character. Actually, Adam Sandler would be a great Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, he would be. Yeah, that's a good point. The
problem with Shrek 3.
Shrek the Third. Are we talking about Shrek the Third?
Yeah. Shrek the 3.
Shrek the 3.
So, like, one thing that I noticed is that Mike Myers sort of forgot how to play Shrek in between 2 and 3. Yeah. And his voice is a little bit off.
Yeah. Another issue I have with Shrek the Third is that the design for Artie, King Arthur, who's played by Justin Timberlake, is very, like, similar to Prince Charming.
Yeah.
And it would, it would have been better if... I don't know, he just looks so similar to him.
Yeah, well, when we were watching the film, this was my recollection of the film, and I thought, it's not that bad.
Before you rewatched it?
Yeah, before I rewatched it. It was that, because Shrek's leaving on a boat to go find Artie, and as he's leaving, Fiona yells out to him that she's pregnant, and he's expressing the past, he doesn't want to be a dad.
Yeah. And
then I said, I bet that Artie's going to be like 8 years old and Shrek's going to learn to love kids as a joke because I knew that this was the plot of the film. And then AJ, you were like, that's not what happens, but that's way better.
Yeah, well, because Artie's in high school, but like late high school.
He's in high school, quote unquote, but then he's in his 20s.
Yeah. Well, he looks.
He's in college.
Yeah, they say it's high school. Isn't it? So let's say he's 18, which is sort of like, they kind of missed it.
They treat him like an adult too much.
And again, Justin Timberlake playing him was kind of boring. I don't know who else I'd cast, but I don't know, Justin Timberlake's voice, when he's not singing, just sounds like a normal guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is that you just got Justin Timberlake.
Because Eric Idle also plays Merlin in that movie, and he's great. Yeah. It's cool to hear Eric Idle doing a character, you know?
Yeah. So the other problem that we talked about, Shrek 3, Shrek the 3.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into this now?
No, we're going to it later.
Okay. Hold on to that one.
Hold on to that little nugget of what is it? What are they talking about? First of all, I'm going to race through just one big problem with Shrek Forever After. So that if they play the whole alternate universe storyline, the whole It's a Wonderful Life kind of thing, what would the world be like if I wasn't born? At the end of the movie, he convinces, he makes, what's the like not aggressive term there? Fiona falls in love with him again. She falls in love with him again, and then because they're fallen in love, he's broken the contract that put him in this universe, and he goes back to his normal universe. But then, like, all the people from this universe you see them vanishing, and it looks painful. Like, it doesn't look like they're just fading away, accepting that their reality was never meant to exist. Like they scream as they disappear.
Well, because he makes everything good in that universe, and then destroys it.
Yeah, because like Fiona's life is almost better. Like, she's more empowered. It depends what Fiona really wants.
Because which is another thing that you need to establish that more.
Okay,
is that like. They're having this big argument about how he wants to be a real ogre. You need to establish more that this is all Fiona's ever wanted.
Yeah.
If she'd come from that in her argument, because then we see her later on as the leader of this tribe.
Yeah, in the other dimension.
In the alternate dimension when Shrek was never born.
Yeah.
She's leading this rebellion of ogres, and she's like this kick-ass female ogre who's like in control of everything and everyone. And it's like. The Fiona we know that loves to kick ass, that's probably what she'd prefer.
Yeah, almost. You don't know. And that's the problem.
That's the problem they don't establish.
And Puss in Boots struggles a lot with identity. It's a syndrome I've mentioned on the podcast before. Space Jam syndrome, where there's a whole bunch of elements smushed into one idea. The second SpongeBob movie sort of was like this as well. Because Puss in Boots wants to be both a Spanish adventure and still maintain like the fairy tale elements, but the fairy tale elements just stand out because it's like, why are they here? Why is Humpty Dumpty a main character in Spain? Like,
and that's like another like a production goof, I guess. That I noticed is that like Humpty Dumpty has arms and legs, but he's an egg. He's a face and stuff. He can talk.
Well, that's the okay. Are you making a joke? I can't tell.
No, like. Eggs can't do that, AJ.
Well, that's actually a fair enough point, because what I was going to say was like, if you had no knowledge of Humpty Dumpty, and then Puss in Boots starts, you'd be like, what the hell is there a talking egg?
Why are the horses trying to put them back together?
Why is there an egg as a main? You'd be so confused, because when we're in Spain now, we're not in medieval times. We're in Spain, and they do a Jack and the Beanstalk story again. It's sort of like the flavours are mixed and they don't quite work.
Would you have made it less fairy tale?
I think so. I think that's the easier way to go.
Right.
Make it almost no fairy tale other than Puss in Boots. I remember when I didn't look this up to confirm it, but I remember when it was announced that they were doing a Puss in Boots spin-off, it was
between Shrek 2 and 3.
Was it?
Yeah.
And it was going to be Puss in Boots Ogre Killer or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, and like I also remember thinking, they should just do the actual Puss in Boots fairy tale.
Yeah.
But they don't, and they settle for this kind of in between, and it's real weird because and like it feels also like where the Puss in Boots story is set in Spain is like 300 years ahead of where the Shrek stories are set in like medieval Britain.
The Puss in Boots kind of needs a sequel, I think.
Yeah, wow.
Because throughout the whole film, there's like this love interest, and I was like, something horrible is going to have to happen to her because she's not in the Shrek movies and she's never mentioned. And then they run off into the sunset together. So it needs a sequel to
there's a Netflix show, but I don't know if she's in it or not.
True, or if she dies in it, because she has to.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to a little section called Continue the Franchise, where we try to come up with a sequel to the franchise we're studying. Studying? That feels too formal.
Yeah, no, we're having fun.
Yeah, we're having fun. This is a
franchise
fun
we're having fun
podcast. But
most of the time.
So first of all, you might know this, you might not. A fifth Shrek film has been announced. Eddie Murphy confirmed last year that a script is finished, and we'd expect to see it in 2019 or 2020. And Puss in Boots 2, 9 Lives and 40 Thieves has been in development hell since 2012, and they've said that it will show Puss adventuring to exotic places and possibly meeting Shrek. I was really surprised seeing that.
He said because I did a surprised face.
And I've written down here, though, is the age of Shrek over? Because Shrek, the humour in Shrek, the actors in Shrek are all has-beens, everything about it is like...
Like Mike Myers was a good cast in 2001, but you wouldn't hire Mike.
No, exactly. So what do they... I don't think we need another Shrek. Which is controversial opinion time, and even another Puss in Boots kind of fits being like a lone spin-off. I feel you mentioned that what happens to Kitty Softpaws, but I don't really care. I don't want another movie that will feel like when you have movies out now like the Lego Movie and the Emoji Movie and all these very self-aware, very the sense of humour of the world's in a different place from where the Shrek movies were at. And I like them being like stuck in the noughties as like this very specific type of animated comedy that Madagascar and things like movies like that kind of fall into as well.
Yeah.
But that being said, the only idea I did have to continue the franchise was called Once Upon a Shrek, which I got from an IMDb forum like years and years ago, and I basically just like the title and like the idea of making it a prequel.
Right. Also, like, it was ogre days.
Yeah. But I thought maybe, like, this is me desperately. I don't think this is a good idea, but this was the idea I came up with. As, like, follow all the characters before they meet each other, maybe. Because they all have inferred histories. Like, Shrek, most of all, mentions in Shrek the Third that his dad tried to eat him.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's really
Shrek's
interesting.
dad is mentioned sporadically, and I'd actually like to see him.
Yeah. But I don't think they'll do that. Like, unless they rebooted it. Or even, they could call the fifth one Once Upon a Shrek and just have it not be a sequel, I guess. A prequel, sorry, I guess. But, anyway, we're going to talk about something different. We're going to continue the franchise this episode to discontinue the franchise.
Cool.
Richard, take it away.
Okay, so this is the thing that I said during Shrek the 3, was that the movie doesn't fit with the rest of them. You've got Shrek as a great story in and of itself. Shrek 2 builds on it perfectly.
Yeah.
And then... So, okay, Shrek 1, we meet the character. Shrek 2, you put him in an unfamiliar situation, even though he's already in one. And the first one, like, he meets the parents. And then the third one, great idea for it would be he wishes that the first film never happened, effectively.
Yeah.
And we get this Godfather trilogy of things. But then they throw in the third one, which doesn't really fit. And then by the time we get to the fourth one, it seems like they've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Artie's not in it. He leaves the third one in prime position to be in it again.
Yeah. He wasn't a cameo that was deleted, apparently, according to like those tables on Wikipedia. That's like the cast members who are in each film. Yeah. Here's what I was thinking based on that idea, because I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, we need to nix Shrek the Third, because the only thing that's really you need to see to understand is, well, there's two things. One is that they have kids, which could just happen off screen.
Yeah, or even Chuck at the end of Shrek 2.
Yeah, and the other is that King Harold dies in Shrek 3, which, again, could just happen off screen.
Yeah. Well, because neither of the parents are really in the fourth one.
Yeah.
So they're just not a part of the third story. Easy.
Yeah. So, here's what I was thinking. If Shrek 1 is a story about learning to love someone else.
Yeah.
Shrek 2 is a story about learning to love yourself.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I've wanted to be who I am, but maybe I don't. Maybe I want to be human. Maybe I'm not right. Shrek Forever After is learning to love who you've become.
Yeah.
Right? So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great idea for a trilogy. Well, there's the thing, is that Shrek 1, 2, and 4 all deal with stuff that you can deal with it. The first, second, and fourth ones are all about being different. I'm going to say being an ogre, but it could just be being different. Yeah. Right?
Like being black.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Or being a woman.
Yeah. It's about being, like, the problem that Shrek deals with in Shrek the Third is hardly an ogre-centered problem.
Yeah, it's, no, I don't want to be king. I hate all these riches and having people follow me around all the time.
I don't want to be a dad, is another, like, struggle he has in it, which isn't a distinctly ogre-ish struggle to have.
It's
and
also
he does...
a fun thing for kids to learn.
Yeah.
No, like, I legitimately mean that. It's not like... Kids aren't sympathizing with it, whereas they can. It's an important thing to learn to love yourself, learn to love someone else, learn to love, like, as you change, learn to accept those changes.
Because, like, he does mention, like, I'll be a terrible dad because I'm an ogre, but that's it.
Yeah, like, your kids are going to be ogres as well.
Whereas Shrek 1 is like, nobody would love me, and I wouldn't love anyone else because I'm an ogre. Ugly and beautiful don't go together.
Grab your torch and pitchforks.
Yeah, and Shrek's accepted who he is in Shrek 1 and is like learning, maybe I deserve this. Maybe I actually deserve to love someone and they deserve to love me. Shrek 2 is like, I'm an ogre, no one's going to like me. Maybe I should change.
Yeah.
And then Shrek 4 is like, I'm not an ogre anymore. Oh, that's so good. It's so obvious that it should be Shrek 1, 2, and then just, I don't know, you probably have to retitle it Shrek 3. As opposed to
this is like our machete order.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that as well, dude. The machete order of Shrek is skip 3, watch Puss in Boots between 2 and 3 as well. I was thinking, like, it feels like it fits there.
Right, yeah.
Because that way you're still... Because, like, Puss in Boots craze, I don't know if you remember it, Richard, that was huge.
Yeah, the highs.
After Shrek 2 came out, the little, like...
His wee little boots.
Like, Shrek 2, Puss in Boots was the Minions of 2004. You know? Like, everyone loved Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
When you buy the reskinned collection edition of the DreamWorks Master Collection, each of the 4 Shrek movies has, like, all the characters in the background, but one of them's in the foreground.
Yeah.
And on Shrek, it's Shrek. On Shrek 2, it's Puss in Boots. It's not Donkey. It's not Fiona. It's Puss in Boots. The character who's introduced in that movie is in the forefront because people frickin' loved Puss in Boots. So put the movie there. Despicable Me did it. Their third movie was Minions, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that suits better being there. And then what? Puss in Boots is optional. But, like, the Holy Trilogy should be Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Shrek Forever After. And then there's stuff you need to change in Forever After to accommodate it for it.
Yeah. And like,
Shrek,
put certain bits of 3 at the end of 2 and put them at the start of 4.
Shrek Forever After's not perfect. Shrek Forever After isn't perfect.
No.
But
the ideas are great. And if Andrew Adamson had stayed on, we'd have this good trilogy. Because I think that's the other thing that changed is that regardless of what you think of Andrew Adamson... trilogies I always find it always better when it's one director's voice throughout the whole thing. And I mean, he executive produced all of them, including Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
So, you know, he should have...
Yeah.
Shrek, we could have a great Shrek trilogy.
Yeah, we could. And we don't. And now they're making a 5th one anyway, so all of this would be in back because they'd be making...
What would you make the 5th one about?
I said before, like
if it comes out
prequel,
now. Comes out
but
now.
I don't know. Like, I can't think of a story because it's just, I don't care. Like, we're over it.
Yeah, we're ogre it.
We're ogre it. It's all ogre now.
Yeah, Shrek is the best series of movies to balance the adult and humour.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember, like, when he's like, well, I have to save my ass in the first movie. I remember as a kid not knowing that ass meant donkey and just think he just, like, dropped a mad swear word, like, in the middle of the movie.
A mad cuss.
Yeah. Like, he'd just been, like, awful. So, yeah, I think that, I've lost my train of thought. Shrek Forever After Shrek
2. Train of thought coming through.
No, it's
Hop
left
on.
the station.
Okay.
It's left the station. It was a good one, too. It was about Shrek Forever After, I think, but I can't remember. Oh, well. Do you have anything else to say?
I feel like we haven't talked about All-Star.
All-Star.
Which is a huge... Well, I'd say is borderline a meme now.
Borderline? I think it's definitely a meme. I sent a message to John Sudano of the big thick dude who sings All-Star to different tunes. I actually sent him a message asking if he wanted to get started and reply, but that's there. If he replies, we'll do a special episode.
If he replies and we record it within next week, it'll be cut in here.
Yeah. Hey, John.
So that was our interview with John.
Yeah. Okay, like, let's talk about All-Star.
Because it came out before Shrek.
It was
came
actually...
out in 1999. It's written for Mystery Man.
Yeah, Mystery Man, yeah.
The, like, Hank Azaria, Ben Stiller movie. And apparently it was put in as a placeholder for the test screening until they, like, got a song written for the film. And audiences went nuts over it. So they're like, fine, we'll keep it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it works so well.
It's a good song. Yeah.
Door opens.
Oh, that's what I was reading about my train of thought.
Yeah.
Shrek the Third. Sorry, this is such a...
it doesn't open with a storybook?
Doesn't open with a storybook.
Yeah.
It's the only one other than Puss in Boots that doesn't open with a storybook.
Yeah, Puss in Boots shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, so even more credence to our theory.
Anyway, yeah. All-Star. Back to All-Star.
Yeah.
It's a good song. The lyrics are good. The lyrics are sweet. They inspire me. All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Shrek is. He's a shooting star.
Yeah, he's just breaking the mold.
He's
an all-star.
He's a rock star.
He just gets his game on and he goes and plays.
Yeah. Somebody, yeah, okay. Anyway, Yeah, I was thinking that's the only thing I'd insist upon in a fifth Shrek movie would be you're opening with All Star. Like, I don't care what else, you're opening it with All Star, everyone's going to cheer.
Yeah. The other thing that would have been good about Shrek 4, if that had been the third one, still come out at the same time. You have a 6-year gap in between, rather than a 3-year gap in between all of them. And then the fourth one, making it I wish the first film never happened kind of thing. You have this chance to revisit scenes, and because he runs into Donkey again, and they don't know each other. They have to become friends again. There's a chance for a lot of callbacks.
Yeah.
And you get this nostalgia. You get that. Remember how you loved the first film?
Yeah.
But not in a tacky way. It almost could be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And like, because it's like realizing, it was destined to happen this way.
Yeah. I feel like the alternate universe was only kind of shitty for like Shrek and Donkey, and everyone else was pretty happy. Yeah. Oh, that's not true. The ogres are like in peril.
But then also, like, we've never seen them before, so obviously they're not flourishing.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, there's suddenly ogres are like a mass species in Shrek Forever After, which I actually quite liked. I quite liked that we got to see them, but it was kind of out of nowhere. I don't know. Like, on the one hand, I want to explore the Shrek universe and understand the different factions. On the other hand, I'm like, it's a relic of its time. Don't really want to go back there. What if it went Shrek 2, Shrek 3, and Shrek 3 was just Shrek Forever After, and then the new one we're getting in 2020 was called Shrek the Second, and it's about like his kid, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. The fourth one was originally going to be called Shrek Goes Forth.
Which is a Blackadder.
Yeah, and so is Blackadder the Third.
Yeah.
But then they decided they wanted to make it the last one, and they called it Shrek Forever After. If they're going with the Blackadder thing, they could have called the fifth one, so the original for the title for Blackadder 5 when they were talking about it, is called the Shrek 5 and make it about a band. Because that was going to be the next step of Blackadder.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's talk about Blackadder. That's a good idea. I would have wanted to see that probably more than the other seasons of Blackadder.
Yeah, the Blackadder 5, like set in like punk,
70s,
70s, whatever. With bald Rick on drums.
I don't know Blackadder that well, so I'm
I've
kind
never
of
seen
in deep water here. Cool. Did you want to talk about the titles? Because we do that a lot.
Yeah, I think we do. We talk about titles a lot on this podcast. What do you think of them? Because I know you like patterns, and so you've got...
I like patterns, or I like no patterns at all.
Right, so this one has no pattern, really.
I don't mind the Shrek titles.
Yeah.
It would have pissed me off, for example, if it was Shrek the Third, Shrek 4, or if they called the fifth one Shrek 5.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't, like, there's not really, it's fine. I wouldn't change anything, really.
Yeah.
Other than just making them numerical, which I don't even like.
Yeah, so. Like, Shrek 2, like, I couldn't think of a better title for Shrek 2.
Yeah.
Like, and I like that they all kind of have the number in them and stuff like that as well. Like, and Shrek the Third's like a good, like, twist on it because it actually fits. Because it's about him becoming a king, potentially. So it's like, it would be, Shrek the Third. Yeah. And then Shrek Forever After is, the last one.
Yeah. Wow.
Shrek Forever After.
What do you think of Puss in Boots, 9 Lives and 40 Thieves? 40 Thieves is an Arabian night.
So, yeah, well, he goes off to exotic lands,
exactly. So.
It's got 2 numbers in
it. Cool. Okay, I think that's probably about us.
Yeah.
Which is fine,
Hey, we're happy to do 45-minute podcasts.
Yeah. We'll do it all the time. Watch me do it. We're going to do, what's it called? Franchise Roulette now. Yep. This is where we roll a franchise from a list of something like 280, and we're going to roll a number randomly, and whatever number that is will be the next franchise.
278.
What?
278.
Oh, that's going to be a dark one, dude. 270.
We're just finding it.
8 is Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants. This has been Film Franchise Fortnights. We're doing it weekly at the moment. We're doing weekly podcasts, with every second one being Film Franchise Fortnights and every other one being just a random fun.
What's going to be next week?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I kind of want to do one on what would make a good video game movie.
Okay.
But I don't.
What movie would make a good video game?
Thank you for listening.
Oh wait, did you ever play the Shrek video games?
No.
I think I had Shrek 2 on PC. I think it came... I think I might have even actually bought it. I can barely remember the game, but I have memories of playing it. They were great.
Okay.
Great.
I've moved out of Shrek mode. We're finishing up now. Thank you for listening. Cult Popture everywhere. Cult Popture. Watch us. Cult Popture. Cult Popture. Thank you.
Bye.